In the incessant scenario of crisis in the Middle East, an intricate geopolitical dance is woven that sheds light on the fragile balance of power between the United States, Israel, Iran, and their respective allies. The recent US-UK-led offensive targeting Houthi targets in Yemen has raised international tension to critical levels. This meticulously choreographed act triggered a series of targeted attacks against Yemeni rebels, whose support from Iran adds additional nuance to this complex plot. At the epicenter of the narrative is the Houthis' solidarity with Hamas and their bold attacks against Israeli-linked vessels in the strategic Red Sea. This theater of operations not only threatens regional stability but also casts shadows on the global maritime trade landscape. About 15% of global shipping transits the waters of the Red Sea, turning each movement into a high-stakes game with global consequences. The US-UK-led coalition, deploying a series of relentless attacks in recent days, has escalated the conflict, exacerbating tensions in the already volatile region. Yemeni claims of US airstrikes on their Houthi-controlled port city add a new twist to this war narrative. Now, the crucial question arises as to how these military actions will influence the strategy of the Houthi rebels and public perception both in Yemen and elsewhere. Amid this geopolitical whirlwind, questions are emerging about the broader ramifications of these attacks. How will these maneuvers affect the United States' position in the region and its relations with the countries of the Middle East? These are questions that require close examination to decipher the complexities of this strategic puzzle. Stay alert as we unravel these vital concerns and more, exploring the various implications of the recent changes in the Middle East scenario. Join us for a deep dive into the fragile balance of power in the region, shifting regional alliances, and the ever-evolving geopolitical landscape as we analyze the U.S. offensive against Yemeni rebels. In an escalation of tensions in the Red Sea region, Yemen's Houthi rebels today reported a new bombing carried out by American and British aircraft on Hadda Mountain, located in the Alayya district of Hodeidah province. This attack, which occurred on Sunday night, has sparked speculation about possible Israeli involvement amid the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. The Houthis, through Al Masirah television under their control, alleged that they previously carried out attacks against ships transiting the Red Sea towards Israel. The United States and Britain, in response, launched a second attack on the strategic Yemeni port city of Hodeidah, according to reports from Al Masirah TV, which is linked to an Iranian-backed military group. Fighter jets and surveillance drones continue to fly over the area, while it is claimed in Yemen that spy planes are also conducting reconnaissance over the area. Hadda Mountain, located in the Alayya district in the north of the city, was the target of this latest attack, according to local reports. This action adds to a series of bombings carried out in the last 3 days by American and British aircraft in the region. The United States and the United Kingdom have stated that these attacks seek to deter the Yemeni Houthi militia from carrying out further actions that threaten international trade in the Red Sea, a vital artery for global trade. The Houthis, for their part, argue that their operations in the Red Sea are aimed at blocking the passage of ships linked to Israel, on the condition that Israel lifts its siege and ceases attacks against the Palestinian enclave in the Gaza Strip. So far, there has been no confirmation from the US or UK military regarding these evolving events. The uncertainty and complexity of this geopolitical situation continue to generate concern internationally. On Saturday, US President Biden revealed that the White House had conveyed a message of peace to Tehran amid recent attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea. In a statement from the White House before heading to his presidential vacation at Camp David, Biden said, "We have communicated this privately and are confident that we are well prepared." The clear intention of the United States to avoid a direct confrontation with Iran is seen, recalling Operation Mantis of 1988, when the naval forces of both countries clashed in the Sea of Oman after Iranian attacks on merchant ships. The Red Sea, which accounts for approximately 12% of global trade, has seen a significant decline in shipping volumes since the Houthis began attacks on suspected ships linked to Israel, although some of the ships attacked had no connection to the country. The threat to civil shipping through the Suez Canal has led ships to divert their routes around the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa to reach Europe and North America, straining supply lines and raising prices for food and gasoline, already affected by Russia's participation in the invasion of Ukraine. British Defense Secretary Grant Shapps underlined the clear message to Iran. "We see you and we see what you are doing." The situation is especially critical with the Houthi rebels, and the militias have warned of a strong and effective response following the US attack on Yemen on Saturday. Tensions escalated further after Washington offered to defend the ships from threats, according to a statement on social media. U.S. Central Command claimed that the guided missile destroyer Carney launched Tomahawk missiles to undermine the Houthis' ability to attack warships, including commercial ones, according to U.S. Homeland Security spokesman John Kirby. These initial attacks seek to limit the Houthis' ability to stockpile, launch and divert missiles or drones that threaten commerce in the region. Washington's stance on the war in Yemen has come under fire from the Houthi group, which said on Sunday that the United States was wrong to think it could stop attacks on Israel in the Red Sea. According to Ba leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah, US President Biden and his entourage demonstrate ignorance by believing that Yemenis would abandon their support for Gaza in the region. In a blunt tone, Nasrallah called Biden and his team foolish and ignorant, arguing that they lack familiarity with Yemen, its people, leadership, and history. According to Nasrallah, the Americans do not understand the complexity of the situation in the region and underestimate the commitment of the Houthis in their operations in the Red Sea. Stronger criticism did not wait. Nasrallah called the attacks by the US-UK-led coalition acts of stupidity and warned that the Houthis will persist in their attacks on Israeli ships and shipping to Israeli ports. Causing even more concern is that, according to Nasrallah, US actions in the Red Sea threaten the security of all shipping, even for those ships that have no connection with Palestine or are of Israeli origin. In his words, the sea has become a battlefield where missiles, drones, and warships converge. The recent attacks by the US and UK-led coalition against Houthi targets in the strategic port city of Hodeidah represent a significant escalation in the long-running conflict in the Middle East. These attacks are justified as a response to Houthi threats against international shipping routes and attacks against allied forces, with the stated objective of eliminating the group's military capabilities. The region observes with growing concern the increase in tension and the repercussions of these actions on the delicate geopolitical balance. This strategic offensive raises fundamental questions about the future of the Houthi movement, its regional influence, and the broader implications for US relations with the Middle East. The joint US-UK decision to carry out airstrikes against Houthi positions marks a critical shift in Western military engagement in the region. Although considered necessary and proportionate by Western governments, these attacks generate diverse perceptions in the Arab world, being interpreted as support for Israel in the Gaza conflict. This perspective further complicates an already intricate web of alliances and antagonisms in the region. Iran's role in supporting the Houthis, despite Tehran's denials, stands as a focal point of the conflict. This support is interpreted as an attempt to exert influence without entering into direct confrontations with the United States or Israel. However, this strategy carries the risk of misunderstandings that could trigger a broader conflict. The Houthis, known for their resistance to airstrikes, now find themselves in a position where they could inadvertently spark a larger war. The United States under President Joe Biden's administration faces a delicate balancing act. Biden's stance in the Middle East, particularly regarding support for Israel and handling of the Houthis, is under scrutiny. U.S. attempts to avoid direct confrontation with Iran, evoking the memory of Operation Mantis in 1988, highlight the cautious stance of geopolitics in the region. Amid this continued evolution, it is clear that a diplomatic solution is imperative to address the underlying causes of the conflict and prevent further escalation. The international community faces the challenge of working together to chart a path toward peace that respects the sovereignty of nations, addresses the concerns of all parties involved, and stabilizes a region that has long been marked by conflict and turmoil. The search for peaceful solutions, based on dialogue and mutual understanding, is presented as an imperative to overcome current tensions and build a more stable future. We appreciate your attention and monitoring of developments in this region, underscoring the importance of global collaboration in the pursuit of sustainable peace. Conflict resolution requires not only the active participation of the nations involved, but also a collective commitment to address the deep roots of tensions and foster a climate conducive to peaceful coexistence. We appreciate your interest and hope that the international community can play a significant role in building a more harmonious future for all.